Good morning, Periscope family. It's a snowy, dark, dreary day in Colorado. Good morning, Darlene. Thought I'd surprise you guys and jump on 2 minutes early. Hope you liked my new haircut. It was nice to get up this morning, not be shaggy, but it needs a little bit of help. Hey, good morning, Alan. I am at Panera Bread waiting for my friend Greg to get here so we have our morning time together. So he's running a little late, and I thought it would be good for us to jump on and get started soon. Yes, it is Tuesday. Good morning, Deborah. It is so, hey, Margaret, great to see you. Have a great coaching call. Be a blessing today. It is always good to start my day with you guys. So here's what I want to touch on today. Yesterday I talked about this inflammation process and what that had done to me, like the 3 pounds that I put on. And so yesterday, and that 3 pounds happened really in just a very short period of time. I hope you guys can hear me okay. I'm in Panera with the headsets on at Panera Bread, getting out and enjoying the world. But anyway, so yesterday it was really easy to do a cleanse. I've kind of made Mondays my fasting day. And so when it becomes part of your routine, it actually works quite well. Let's see if we can change that and make that work a little better. Here comes my buddy. No, that's not Greg. Looks like Greg. But anyway, so yesterday I did a fast, and guess what? 2.7 pounds came off in one day. So that says something, right? I mean, it's like you don't just lose 2.7 pounds in one day unless there's inflammation. So I really want to encourage you guys that learning how to manage and identify the things that are inflammatory in your life, getting them out of your life, or at least being aware of when they're there and knowing how to deal with them is huge, because that inflammatory process so totally messes with your brain, messes with your energy, it messes with your vitality. So just that's a side note. But anyway, so today I was wondering what to talk about. And yesterday my good friend Al Anderson called me, and Al just called up and he said, Forrest, what are you learning in the process of doing this Periscope, and how long have you been doing it for? And I got to thinking, I thought that is such a good question. So I went through with Al for about 5 minutes and just said, here's the things I'm learning. So what I want to share with you this morning is some of the things I'm learning. And again, as I share these with you, Cheryl's message is really good. A trip without your hot fat morning drink is inflammatory for sure. She put on like 3 pounds, I think, on the road trip, but she didn't have all the pieces to her routine weren't there, and it impacted her. So I just said, hey, you've got today to rest, renew, and get your body back on track, and that's what you do. But anyway, so as Al said, what are you learning? I thought that's such a good question. So my question to you is, as you're going through your process, as you're engaging on your journey, what are you learning? A couple of weeks ago, we talked about something called cairns. I think it's spelled Cairens, cairns. Like these stone markers that people put up to mark the trail when they're hiking in the Alps and different places like that. So are you being aware of, and are you making note of the markers? Are you making note of the markers in your life? It's so important to say, what am I learning? What am I going through? Because the discouragements and the challenges of the process can really hit you hard. So I just sat down this morning. I said, okay, what have I been learning? What have I been learning the last, 5-6 weeks, however long we've been doing this? And what I'm learning are the basics. I'm learning to be consistent. Here I'm 62 years old almost, and I'm finally learning to be consistent. I'm learning that when you're consistent, it puts you into a growth curve. I'm learning that growing happens quickly when you're being obedient and you're asking to grow. It's amazed me how quickly the growth is happening. Now, what's funny is a lot of times I don't see the growth, and so it requires a community and people around you to share with you what they see you're going through. So having people to point out to you and encourage you in the growth process is huge. I'm learning that in my life, as I'm going through this process, that there's a lot of moving pieces. We've talked about this before. There's all these pieces that are moving and shifting. And I can see the pieces moving, but I don't have a good handle on it yet. And so yesterday when I talked about the imaginal cells, I talked about that transformation of the caterpillar into the butterfly. And if you missed yesterday's call, it's on Facebook. So here's my buddy Greg showing up. He's excited to be here. Feedback and community are a huge part of this process. But these imaginal cells are really cool. So, again, go Google imaginal cells, read about the process of what happens to that caterpillar and the butterfly. And it was such a perfect word picture for me to realize that I'm not supposed to understand how all these pieces are moving and shifting. I just need to be encouraging them to move and to shift. I need to be engaged in that process. The caterpillar simply lets those cells in him move and grow and reconnect and become who they're becoming. I'm learning it's really important to nurture and support and protect the process that you're in. So whatever process you're in, whatever you're engaging in, whatever you're going through, we've got to take time to nurture that. It's like right now, I'm having to nurture the plants. I went and bought all the plants for the porch. You got the deck already. Well, they're all sitting in the house. And then I got the little seedlings. And, you got to watch those guys because I had them in the dark room. All of a sudden, they're like this long, and there's like all this white stuff on them. And then there's the little leaves up here. So we have to be intentional about nurturing the seeds that we're trying to grow in us. The same as I've got to nurture the plants. So guess what? They're going to be like gone. Like last night, they're just gone. Snow, it's crazy. So same thing can happen in us. I'm learning that clearly God is in charge because this thing is so much bigger than me. I have no comprehension of it. It's like, have you ever thought the caterpillar has no concept of the butterfly? He just knows that he needs to go through the process, and then the butterfly comes out. And I don't even know if the two are connected to each other. And the Word of God says that we've got to go through this becoming a new man, the new process of becoming a new man. So the process really does matter. It's bigger than you, and if God's not in charge, it's not going to work out so well. And I think most important of all, I'm learning that everything that I'm going through is really good, but I'm also learning that I can be both diligent and patient at the same time. The concept of being diligent, but also being patient, because, see, the caterpillar can't speed up the process. I've got to wait for all of these moving pieces, this vibration of these imaginal cells. I've got to wait for them to connect with each other. I've got to wait for them to identify where they're going. And I've got to, again, nurture and encourage that process. I'm learning that my values really matter in this because the values become like the guiding process. They become the foundation, and they're driving so much of what's happening that without the values, it's like you start wandering and you're not connected. So if you haven't watched Cheryl's values video, be sure you go to CherylTownsleyTraining.com and take 30 minutes and watch that. I'm learning that the journey is about growing me. Last night I asked the Lord, I said, what is it that the enemy has tried to steal from me during the course of this process, during the course of my life? And he said, Forrest, more than anything, the enemy is using the journey of your life to destroy you. When you leave your journey to yourself, the enemy wants to come in and he wants to destroy your connection to your values. He wants to destroy your connection to your purpose. He wants to destroy your connection to your destiny. And all of these bumps and bruises and ups and downs we go through in life, if we're not careful, left to themselves, they will destroy us. They'll leave us in the doldrums. They'll leave us burned out. They'll leave us wanting to just retire and go sit on the beach and do nothing significant with our lives. Remember the new motto? If Bernie Sanders can run for president at 76 or 74, what can you do with your life? I mean, do you really want to just go let your life be nothing, or do you want to go do something amazing? And if Bernie can do that, what can you do? So yeah, the enemy, more than anything, he wants to destroy your life, and left to our own devices, that's what's going to happen. But when we give it to God, and again, I've been a Christian for like 30 plus years. I was baptized when I was 12. And I'm just now learning to give it to God. That's this new process. That's like going into the cocoon. And when I let him shape me, then those same challenges that were meant to destroy me are going to be the challenges that make me. The challenges that were destroying me for the last 30, 40 years, those challenges are now becoming the pieces that are letting me become bigger than them. They're becoming my Goliath. They're letting me become, walk into my role as David and do the things that David did when he slayed his giants. So I don't have my clock with me this morning, but I need to wrap up because I want to spend time with Greg. So summary, here's your questions for today. Just make some notes on these. I hope you guys are making notes, and I hope you're journaling on your process here. So first question, are you in a constant learning mode? And if you are you making notes on what you're learning? What are you discovering? Are you discovering your passion? Or are you in the process of being your passion? If you don't know what your passion is, then the passion is discovering your passion. And here's the key. What's the one thing today? What's the one thing you can do that will nurture, that will grow, and that will encourage the seed that's in you? Like, for example, the seeds that I have in my living room, the one thing I can do for those seeds today, I can keep them inside. Those seeds need to not be out on the deck. So that's like not a very big deal to have them inside. You just move them inside. But like that's the one thing that really matters to those seeds is they need to be inside today. They need to be protected. So it may not be a big thing, but there's one thing that needs to be done that's going to encourage your voice, that's going to encourage the seed that's in you, that's going to encourage your journey. There's one thing. What are you doing to grow your community? What are you doing to stay connected with people? What are you doing to share what you're going through with somebody? What are you doing to encourage somebody? Like my Tuesdays are becoming really important to me because I get to come spend time with Greg. And that's like a relationship that matters. And it's so much, I can go to church, I can go to all these different events, but I can come spend a little bit of time with a guy that's my age, it's got a family like mine, and we can go through stuff together. So, like, this is one of the things today. It's getting to Panera. It's learning that, I'm talking on Periscope and the people behind me are getting their bread, their biscuits, and their muffins. Who knows who's listening? But the key is I'm doing the one thing. I'm out and about. I'm connecting. I'm building my community. So I just want to encourage you guys today. Focus on the one thing. Nurture yourself. Encourage yourself. Grow yourself. Make notes on what's happening. And always, always, always be in the learning mode. Ask yourself each day, what am I learning? And am I focused on becoming the person God created me to be? So, hey, that's it for this morning. I'm going to go enjoy the day at Panera. I'm going to watch the snow come down. You all have a great day. Love you all, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. See ya.